Are you tired of criticizing your kids? You feel bad about being judgmental and harsh, but you catch yourself calling out their mistakes and unfinished chores. You want to help them to grow and improve, but it comes out wrong, and communication ends up in tears and hurt feelings. Perhaps you make fun of your kids because that was how you were treated growing up. It was awful, but now it's a default response with your kids. Or you catch yourself looking over your shoulder, wanting your kids to be perfect so you can be seen as a good mom. Let's learn how to stop criticism and judgment and replace it with a positive, encouraging atmosphere in our home so that we can communicate with our kids and stay connected. I'm Kimberly Mutar, and I help mamas communicate with their kids. They actually listen and talk to you, and you stay patient and calm and speak life in a way that your kids understand. This is the Renewed Mama podcast. Are you ready to say goodbye to nagging, being sarcastic, shouting, or repeating yourself 100 times? Hello, peace in your home. Everyone gets along, and you, mama, raise confident kids. Criticism. Let's start with what it is and what it isn't. Think about drawing a line down the center of a piece of paper and write criticism and judgment on the left-hand side. Leave the right-hand side blank for a minute. Criticism is thought. Thought expressed in words, opinions, or judgments about the good or bad qualities of someone or something. Criticism can be constructive, where you offer solutions and ways to improve, or destructive, where you find fault. Most times, judgment labels people or situations harshly. Lazy, troublemaker, liar, forgetful. Would you agree that judgment and criticism create division and hurt more than useful change in someone? Consider this. You do not have to approve of what someone did, but mulling over it in your mind again and again, staying in judgment and criticizing them tends to create more hurt and frustration in your mind rather than useful change in them. These critical thoughts and judgments are based on your interpretation, not facts. Sometimes we say, I'm just being honest, just stating the facts, but most often we add a thought or opinion about it. In other words, the judgment is the thought about the fact. On the other side of your paper, write facts. Neutral circumstances, objective facts separate from emotions. Let's see the difference. A neutral circumstance could be dirty dishes left in the sink, not in the dishwasher. It's an objective fact. There they are. There's no emotion until you have the thought, come on, kids, how many times do I have to tell you to put your dirty dishes in the dishwasher? A neutral circumstance could be she missed the deadline, didn't get the work done, just stating the facts, right? But listen for the thought or the opinion. We can't rely on her. She's always late. Why would we think that she will pull through this time? A neutral circumstances might be my son slammed the door. The laundry is still in the dryer. My child couldn't find his shoe again. The toddler got out of bed 3 times last night. The bathroom light is on. The lost backpack is by the front door. My daughter said, I don't want to. There are toys on the living room floor. Who felt all the feelings and emotions with those neutral circumstances? I did, and that's okay. We were designed to experience and know the facts with all the emotions and feelings that come with them. What is important to know is that criticism and judgment are not the same thing as objective fact. We can differentiate between the two and respond or communicate with our kids with compassion and patience instead of criticism and judgment. That's the goal of this episode. A better way is to notice the facts, take responsibility for your own thoughts and words and the emotions that come with it, and respond with compassion and grace instead of judgment and criticism. Thoughts are not facts. They are interpretations. The facts, there are toys on the floor, dishes in the sink, and craft supplies all over the counters. The interpretation is my house is always a disaster. Everywhere I look, I see a mess. Why can't these kids clean up after themselves? The fact, the kids are arguing. The interpretation, my kids are rude to each other. They never get along. There is no peace in this house ever. So why are we quick to criticize and judge? What's behind this criticism and judgment? Let's explore that next. And then we'll focus on the facts and talk about how to respond in patience and understanding. So keep listening. I asked moms like you why they are quick to criticize and judge. And here's what they said. The first one is they want to help their kids to grow. We believe the best for our kids, right? They can do great things. We want to help them to succeed in life and prepare them for challenges. However, in our attempt to protect them from future mistakes, we focus on the minor mistakes today and end up pushing too hard all at once. For an example, say your child does most of his homework well, but has sloppy handwriting, made a few spelling mistakes, and skipped a question. You say, you need to fix this. Your handwriting is messy. You've made spelling mistakes and you forgot this. You want to help them to do better, but mentioning all of that at once, all of those mistakes, makes your child feel no matter how hard I try, mom sees what I did wrong first. Instead, say, you worked hard on this. I see a lot of great work here. There's just one question left to finish and then you're done. That feels very different, and you can come back to the penmanship and the spelling mistakes another time. Practice those later. The second reason moms say that they criticize or judge is when they're concerned about what others think of them as a parent. We want perfect little kids to show that we are good moms. I remember sitting in a parenting class at church back when our girls were little. They were both under 4 years old. And we were going around the circle answering what worries us the most about parenting. And there were lots of great answers about teaching them about Jesus and raising good kids. And the leader finished by saying, I worry that my kids behave at other people's houses and they aren't the kids that people can't wait to leave or don't want to invite back again. I want them to see that I'm a good parent. That's exactly what I was thinking, but was too afraid to say it. The third reason moms said they're quick to criticize and to judge was out of their own anxieties, their stress, overwhelm, perfectionism, or perceived failures. Knowing all of this, let's focus on the circumstantial facts to deliberately choose to respond to our kids with patience and understanding instead of criticism and judgment. Get a pen and paper ready. There are lots of suggested words that you can say coming up. Swap criticism for curiosity. Even if you know everything about your kids and you've been over like this one thing 100 times with them, be curious, stay curious instead of criticizing. Ask questions such as, tell me how come you did? Or what happened? Not, why did you do that? What were you thinking? Help me understand what's going on. What's making this hard right now? I'm here for you. I can help you with those big feelings. The goal is to stop assuming defiance, especially if you've been over something 100 times, and start assuming a need. Like, where is there a breakdown in the communication or the understanding or teaching on my part as the mom? A lot of what we call attitude or defiance is actually a skills gap. They need help transitioning or being flexible with change. They're gaining emotional regulation and frustration tolerance. They need to grow in focus and attention in this very distracted world. Instead of he's being bad, think something's going on. What does he need? Instead of she's doing this on purpose, think she's having a hard time, not giving me a hard time. Now there's curiosity, compassion, grace, and patience. If your child made a mistake, say, I'm proud of you for trying. Mistakes are part of learning. Let's look at this one again and figure it out. If the handwriting is messy, say, you got your ideas down here nicely. Let's just slow down a little on the next line so that it's easier to read. If your child is frustrated, say, I can tell this feels hard right now, but you're not failing, you're learning. Let's do one question at a time. If your child rushed, say, I love that you got started right away. Next, let's work on taking a little more time so your great work really shows through. Saying it these ways helps your children to think, I'm capable, I'm learning, mom sees the good in me. Let's do a few more. Instead of you never listen, say, what did you hear me ask you to do? Or I need you to listen the first time. Let's practice stopping, looking at me right away. Yes, mom. Rather than saying, you're so messy, say, this room needs some attention. Let's start with your clothes first and then the toys. Instead of, you were rude to your brother, say, I know that you didn't mean to, but that came out unkind. Let's think of a better way we can say that. Instead of, you always forget, say, it looks like you forgot again. What would help you to remember next time? Rather than saying, that's not good enough, say, you made a good start. Let me show you how to make it even better. There may be times when you need to stay consistent and firm and say, I believe you could do the hard thing. The rule is still the rule. You are learning self-control. Would you try that again, please? I'm not mad at you. I'm helping you. This will help you keep peace and authority without sliding into harshness. Do you feel like this constructive criticism gives your child both truth and tools? Was this helpful? All of this goes for self-judgment too. Being critical of yourself is unnecessary and counterproductive. If there is something you do not like about yourself, beating yourself up over it is usually not what changes it or motivates you to change. Instead, acknowledge it and take ownership of it. This is an area that I'd really like to change or grow in. Then make a plan to change. What can I do differently tomorrow? What new thoughts or beliefs do I need to have around this area of change? What new words do I need to speak? Can I use my imagination to picture a new way of responding? Is there an area in your life or in your parenting where you catch yourself being critical and judgmental or hard on yourself? Have you thought of an accountability partner or a coach to help you work through this area to overcome it and to make lasting change? Albert Einstein said, we can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. If you're still trying to do better in your communication with your kids and stay calm and patient with the same frustrated, annoyed, or overwhelmed thoughts, you won't get anywhere but stuck as you already are. Renewed Mama Coaching helps you to renew your thoughts, your words, and your responses specific to your children and what you are facing. I promise that you will become the mama you want to be in our one-on-one coaching sessions. Go to renewedmamacoaching.com and book your first coaching session today. As always, it means so much to me that you tuned in today. If today's episode encouraged you, would you share it with another mama you know who wants to stop being critical and judgmental? This could be the encouragement she's praying for. Would you also take 30 seconds and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a comment on YouTube if you're watching there? Your review helps the podcast to grow so that more mamas find it and stay renewed too. I appreciate it so much. I'll see you next Tuesday for another episode. Bye! For more resources, visit Renewed Mama Coaching, Speak Life Badges, and Austin's Kids Club.